right, I'll call the meeting to order for the March 20th COC for DMUSD. Thanks for joining everyone. Maybe we start the roll call. As the calls are over 5 p.m. on March 20th. I'm Sid Patel, I'm the President and Representative Taxpayer of Modernization. Magenti here. Drew Eisen.
Drew, so just for the group, Drew was approved by the board at our meeting last week. He'll be the new business community representative, former DMUSD president, and former friend here at Ashley Falls. But unfortunately, with the quick turnaround, he wasn't able to be at this meeting, but he does plan to be at our next meeting. Okay.
Here.
Nina Russo.
Here.
Ira Sharp. Here. And Michelle is not here today. And so we do have established a quorum with that. We'll move on to item C, public comments. At this time, the committee welcomes public comments. As set out in the policy, we total 30 minutes is provided so members of the public can address the committee, or up to 30 minutes. Speakers will be 3 minutes unless item is placed on the published agenda in accordance with the Brown Act. There should be no action taken in response to the public comments. The committee may acknowledge receipt, refer the matter to staff, or direct the matter to the agenda as a future meeting. Any public comments? And so, with that, I'd like to have review and approval of the December 12th, 2022 minutes. Any corrections for that? So moved. Second.
Second.
Thank you. And so the meetings from December 12th, 2022 are approved. And we have I have a motion to
Just do all in favor.
All in favor? Any opposed? And then I have so the minutes are approved. And I do have a request to move the presentation receipt of fiscal year 2021 and 2022 measure and audit report before the Ashley Falls School measurement project. Can I have a motion to approve this change in the schedule? Second. Anyone opposed? Shall we proceed with the presentation of the fiscal year measure and audit report?
Hi, thank you. I'm Robert and I'm a partner at Oversight. We performed the measure and bond audit for fiscal year ended June 30, 2022. I like to start towards the end of the audit at the summary of the audit results, which is on page 40. Okay, so this is the summary of our results, what has occurred in the previous 39 pages. So we issued out the financial statements and unmodified opinion, which means it is our opinion that these statements as presented are a fair reflection of the financial position of the bond as of June 30, 2022. We did not identify any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal controls. And then on the performance audit which we performed, we did not identify any non-compliance as with Prop 39 or with the bond measures. So with that as the summary of our results and items, are there any questions that I can answer for the committee? Great. We have no audit committee, so this should be commended for a good job on this side.
Mr. Chairman, it would be appropriate for the committee to entertain a motion to receive and file the audit report as presented.
Motion to receive and file the audit report. Motion second.
Okay, call for the item.
Okay, approval of the motion to file audit reports. Any opposition? All right, so let's do motion, findings are received and filed on the district.
Thank you.
bring us to the measurement project for Ashley Falls.
Right, so we are excited to be able to have the Schools Oversight Committee again join us at a school site, and today we are going to take a look at new playgrounds that we put in place. Playgrounds that we have put in place in our schools have been the product of the work we've done with the community in our Pacific Sky and Belmont Heights rebuilds, and then work with school sites, and especially Sycamore Ridge, because that was the first one that we did, and we got input from students as well as staff, and we built upon that. So we've been able to take the input we've gotten over the course of our design processes and redo playgrounds across the district, and so Ashley Falls is a great example of that. So what we'll do is we will go take a tour, we'll walk through the, look at our upper grade, our middle, and our kindergarten playground, and then we'll go into 4 classrooms. I know that we saw a number of modernizations last time, so we're going to trim down the number of classrooms to go through, but we'll go through 4 classrooms on our way back here to the MUR for the rest of the meeting. So with that, I'm going to do this way, and I will lock the doors, so if you have anything that you would like to leave behind, we will have it locked while we are gone. And we can head out the back door there and make sure that it's locked. Just like that.
I do. I'll lock it. Sure.
Yeah. We're appropriately dressed. This meeting also being essential.
Probably a big lake out there right now. It comes and goes. Well, they're maybe going to come again this week. Hopefully it's the last time.
Just a couple of things to point out that have been highlights. One of the things that came up was shade, and so we've been able to attach larger shade on the top, and as you know, lunch recess is in the middle of the day, so it does provide a fair amount of shade right over it. You'll see the ropes. The kids talked a lot about climbing, and so making sure that we had things where kids could climb and move around, and so that's a big one. And then this blue slide has been a fixture of every one of our upper grades, because immediately it was the thing the kids were lining up for, because it's fast and it's wide. You could have 2 kids going down at the same time, and so they really liked it. And then the other thing that we've heard repeatedly is kids like swings, even our older kids. And a lot of times you look at upper grade playgrounds, they don't have the swings, and only the younger ones. And so we've found ways. Sometimes we fit a swing like this in, sometimes it's your traditional swings, but finding ways that we can get swings in there too, as we got the input from our kids. And then Gaga has been installed here. It's been a hit since, for a number of years now. We have it at most of our school sites. With that, we'll head over to our primary. So this is our upper grade at Ashley Falls. Now, so my
Exactly.
2 or 3 days.
Oh, really? According to the weather app, it said tomorrow. Yeah, ACC's days there too. Yeah, and well, it's funny people hear this when they resource it. It's just kind of so that all can grow, right? Yeah. That's when you need like an iron days. I think it's going to be good for here. That's like where the nibs would like. No, that's like the. Wow. The flowers is better because there's iron in the blood.
So again, the climbing, and you'll see we have this. Sickle Ridge is similar too, but you know, finding just different ways where kids can climb, different heights, different areas where kids can, you know, some are up high, some are down low. We really kind of finding different spots for slides. Those are obviously big, and then just spaces even where, you know, sometimes it's a seat like that. Other spaces where kids can also be a little bit lower key and not necessarily be on the go the whole time. It's been another piece that we've found for the kids. And this was always a big kind of play area, so it's nice to have, you know, you have this bigger swath to kind of work with. You can kind of play around with it a little more too. So, yeah, it's been great.
What's the surface? Is this softer surface?
Yes, this is softer, recycled, and it's complies with, you know, the fall. But we also, as we were hearing from kids, the bark is pokey, and so there was definitely a desire to have this type of a fall surface because it just is more comfortable to fall into or to sit on if they're kind of hanging out, that kind of thing, rather than those bark chips that, man, get a little splinter. Yeah. We also intentionally put it, there was some intention in even the design of this, because you see some of them that are darker, and just for the summer when it gets hotter, trying to include some of the lighter colors so that it has some of the black, so it doesn't really show as really dirty, but it also has the lighter color so it doesn't get as hot in summer. Yeah.
Sales.
No, coming around lots of steps, you don't.
How many are done?
We have 3 schools that we're working on this summer.
Okay.
Or if it's
Sage Canyon
they get
and Torrey Hill.
Okay, so the
And then Del Mar
two
Hill
are
still needs to be
done.
done.
2 are
You're right, those
only,
wood
are
chips.
only
Sycamore Ridge
Del
was
Mar
done the
and
first year.
Yes.
Astor Falls and Carmel Del Mar were done this last summer.
Okay, 3.
So we
Sky was done, so we have 4 done.
Scott.
Pacific Side, 4 done. 3 more this summer.
Yeah, and then turns out the
And then Del Mar Hills, because of the modernization and the phasing of it, we have not yet. So we're looking at, is there a possibility to do it the following summer?
But I think this
And then high school.
is correct. This is
Preschoolers love it. This playground over here.
Oh my gosh.
They were so thrilled when it was
It's
completed.
a huge, oh my gosh. I love the umbrella.
I know. So much. Oh, actually, you know what? I ordered some.
They're lighter colored, they don't reflect, it doesn't highlight.
Yeah.
Oh, this is, it's like all blue. Oh, it's blue.
I know. That's the thing. We really does. It really does. I feel like it really does. Started having a little bit about that.
So for most of that, more site things, we don't have like encumbering full modernization. So it's more of the
I know. How will specific schools use the sign?
exactly, and then it's some better furnishings. We've done some different things at Sage Canyon. We've done some little work on. So then, I'll jump right back. So kindergarten here we had, and kindergarten, so our kindergarten playground here, when I was principal here, which brings us back to 2014, 2015, they had one of those, little pathways that kind of bounced, and it broke, and we had to put a flat one in. And so like it had been piecemealed together over a number of years, and so they were thrilled when this finally got finished and put in. As you can see, again, a lot of shade, little spots for, again, the younger ones to be able to come and sit. Also some interaction with musical pieces and notes similar to what we have at Sycamore Ridge, and kept the swings, because we have swings here and making sure we still had swings in here. And then the kids also use, I mean, this has been here for a while, but just this was, again, when I was principal, we replaced sort of a dirt patch with this artificial turf, but having these spaces, the kids have shade, they have place to run around and play, and it's a nice setup here at Ashley Falls too, because they're sort of secluded and able to you know, use this. And then our preschool also uses this area, so it's a 3 to 12 age range, so that we can have the younger kids on it as well.
Are those classrooms going to be replaced? Just, I mean, are those the, what do you call them?
These are the
Mobile classroom? Or?
well, these are for our early childhood development and preschool program,
Oh, okay.
and so they are not on the plans for work on them right away.
Now, look at all the balls on the roof. Oh yeah, some off the windows.
All right. So next we're going to head into a kindergarten classroom, room 302, right over here.
Okay. Sun exposure.
Somebody needs to tell Mother Nature.
Question marks. It's supposed to rain Tuesday. And it rained on me this morning.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Here, I'll hold it for everybody. You guys okay? Thank you.
Thanks.
So again, somewhat similar to what you saw at Ocean Air, but again, being on a school site, we thought we'd walk you through a couple of classrooms here. At Ashley Falls, again, we've done we've kept some of the casework that was already here because there still is a need for storage and our teacher to have some space, but then repainting, recarpeting, putting up the whiteboard wall, which you can see is used on a daily basis. We have, again, some of the setups where we have student seating throughout, and then these centers where I can guarantee you if we'd walked in here 6 hours ago, there probably would have been something going on at this board and kids sitting at this little space. And then in kindergarten, there's a lot of small group instruction. So you'll see almost centers because you end up with children working in different groups and then sometimes coming together as a whole group. And then I know that Ms. Tiffany is a active user of the touch panel screen as well at times when she's displaying or having kids put their work up there. You'll often see students, especially in our primary grades, coming up and doing some sort of practice with the little pins that are on there, writing directly on that touch screen and utilizing the technology on their own, which is pretty cool to see them able to jump into right away. Got a little reading March Madness over here. That's all.
I was wondering what it was. They're betting their life money.
All right, and then we'll head over to a first grade classroom.
I have a chance.
School is not very different.
No. This is like a 20-year-old building, something like that.
I don't think it's
Not that old?
punk at all. I don't know if it's pretty close.
You're right, it's all the old fluorescent.
Yeah.
We have first grade, obviously you'll see that it's quite similar to kindergarten in the size and the scale. But one thing that you'll note as you come in is just how quickly our students grow and start stepping up in the academics and the things they're doing in class. Because, you know, if you look at some of the sorting and they're doing a thinking routine and they're coming with their thoughts and then they're sorting them into here, or the math problems that they're working on, it is, I don't know, it's amazing to see how much students grow from the beginning of kindergarten to the end of first grade, especially the first 2 years. They're just sponging up and just, it's really impressive to see how our teachers keep pushing learning and helping students really just grow over those first couple of years.
I like all the stimulating stuff on the walls and you can just see.
Well, these environments really are, they just lend themselves to the meaningful kinds of interactions that our children have when you can see just the depth of thinking all around. You can see anywhere you look, you can see what children have been learning about and collaborating with one another about. So just having this kind of a space leads to a very, very different learning experience than, say, when I was in school and there would have been, 30 desks lined up and I sat by myself all day for the most part. It's very different, and I would say, seeing it firsthand, the outcome and the depth of conversations that kids have with one another and with their teachers, it's just incredible, and what they're learning and how they learn and how this makes such a difference is just exciting to see, even more so when there are kids in the room. So it's incredible.
And it's notably different than, because when we were in school, or even when I first started teaching, if you think 20 years ago, especially, in many of our classrooms, you judged it by, is it quiet when you come in? And I wouldn't want it to be quiet when you come in. You really, because you learn so much by interacting and by, there are times obviously where you are quieting them down and they're doing some individual things, but there's a lot of interaction, and this does facilitate that interaction the kids are engaged in. And then learning becomes fun too. If you're able to interact during the day.
And then the options for inside the classroom, outside the classroom, because sometimes it's a collaborative experience, and other times you do need a quiet space or a place, a smaller door, sorry, a place where you need to be with your own thoughts, and so there are those kinds of opportunities as well. So it's great. The hallways, etc.
All the different kinds of chairs and different, they can find something that's going to be comfortable for them. It's just so different.
Yeah.
That's for sitting on, or?
You'll see them sit on, you'll see kids visualize, you'll see a couple of them.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they love it. The grassy knoll is a hit in every, yeah.
Well, there's a pass.
Yeah. The
Different
kids won't get that.
market.
They don't.
I hope they don't.
Yeah.
Different visuals. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, just, you can just feel the stimulation.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
That's cool.
I do that sometimes.
Gosh. I love these smaller areas.
Yeah, me too.
I know,
But
and it's
it's
exciting to see
sometimes
those evolve as well, so at every school we're looking at that. So exciting. We lose Chris?
He's back there.
We'll hang a left. We're gonna head to a third grade classroom and then a sixth grade classroom, and we'll call it a day.
We're going to Modernization. Oh, John. It was brother with my sister's family 3 years ago, and we did those on like 4 to 5 times. So, yeah. Probably back on. Oh, yeah. As he should.
So again, this is third grade. We can see obviously a little bit of change in the size and height. You do see, kids, their stamina grows, and so you see kids sitting together and maybe working a little bit longer period of time, so you get a little bit more, well, there's not more desk space, but we have the desk space and then the flexibility to go around. You see these pieces on the side, these get pulled out, so as kids want to maybe sit on the floor, or they want to put a couple of them together, and so they have some flexibility in how you might use that to have a different space or a different way to sit. And then obviously the beanbag, just finding ways for kids to be comfortable throughout the day. I think that also, I always note when we come in how they're using the whiteboard. So you can see that there's a lot of math that goes on in this classroom on the whiteboard,
And we've been, throughout the years, as we've, again, taken on CGI and really gotten to conceptual-based mathematics, we've had just the whiteboards that we'd have the kids be able to pull out, and now you have them on the table, and you have them up at the wall, and so it allows that work to live a little bit longer too, which is exciting because the kids can build on things over time, which we'd love to see. So again, this is 3rd grade, and I just, it is so, I wish that we could actually take this tour during the day, because it really doesn't do it justice to just see, because the furniture really isn't just pretty furniture. As Holly was saying, it really is a means to improving the instructional experience and the learning experience for our kids. So.
Well, and even things like making sure that the whiteboards go all the way down to the floor and then are magnetic, because they're using them all, I mean, things move and up and down, and they're all over, and you'll come at any point in time, and some of you, if you've been in your own children's classrooms, maybe have seen it if they've been modernized, but there'll be kids all along the whiteboard. Just sometimes they'll bring their math or whatever, and they'll just sit down and grab a marker, and they'll just start doing their problem on the whiteboard. I mean, it's truly incredible how it transforms what they have access to, and they use every inch of the room, and that's another thing that is so exciting about, the transformation. It really is amazing.
It becomes their room instead of
It does.
the teacher's room. Like, I always had Mr. Delahanty's room, and it really is, Mr. Delahanty's class, not Mr. Delahanty's room, because we're all one class, and so they're all owning portions of the space. And I'm actually going to take us out the back door because 6th grade is upstairs here at Ashley Falls. And it's kind of an exciting rite of passage for Ashley Falls students because it's been upstairs for years. And so the students become 6th graders, and then you're on the 2nd floor in the building in the back. Right? And I've seen this room made up in And then this is one of our 6th grade classrooms. We're swimming in cafe style, and it really is. There's opportunities, and having a couple different opportunities where kids can kind of sit down across from each other and engage. They love these setups. This classroom I've come into, and the teacher, Ms. Fallon McKnight, does an amazing job of working with the students, and our students obviously have more and more experience with not learning just in a row and at a desk. And being able to make choices, but part of it is being a metacognitive and being able to think about your own thinking when you're making some of these choices. And you can come in, and I've heard kids talk about how they make choices and where they sit and why they sit there and how that helps them. And so that whole thing of actively thinking about what's going to be the right space for me is something I've told people before. When I was in college, I didn't know where I should study. I go to a coffee shop and I get lost because I get distracted by everybody, and I need to be in a different space. And so learning about yourself and how you learn best at the age of 10, 11, 12 is an amazing skill unto itself. And then seeing them interact and seeing them be able to balance their day and find the right spots and work collaboratively. You also see kids outside, as Holly was saying, 6th grade especially, there's some cognitive load on some of the things they're thinking about. So there are times where the students may be outside on the the area out there because it's a little bit quieter, or it might be that it's quieter in here, and so a small group goes out there because they need to talk, because they do utilize these spaces, and that's why we're really looking at how can we benefit and expand on our work on the outsourced learning spaces, because it is a way for us to expand the footprint of the classroom. So it's definitely something that we're looking at how we can do with some of our next steps with modernizations around the district.
So it's exciting with our plan, you know, and using and with Measure MM, and you know, typically you think you know, the modernization will happen this school, then this school, then this school, and yes, there is a plan for that for certain things at each school. But knowing that our kids are here today, learning that some of the things needed to happen district-wide sooner because the kids are here today. And so the fact that we're doing this at every school, not just, oh, it's not quite time for your school to get a new roof yet. You know, it's so Chris and the whole team being so thoughtful about what happens in which series and how we can actually impact the learning experience today is, I just think, you know, just such a wonderful, wise investment. And I too wish the kids were here because they would be talking to you about about their learning experience, but it is exciting to see it happen district-wide. And so within the next couple of years, we do have a plan to have every school in the classroom have been modernized, which has been very ambitious, because along with that also goes the professional learning for our teachers, and obviously it's not, like Chris said, I think one of the most important things that you've said, Chris, is it's not just about the furniture, it's about the experience and about the learning. It does become one of the tools, and it definitely changes the experience, but it, you know, it needs to be accompanied by high quality professional learning with our teachers, which is also being done beautifully, so.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful collaboration between multiple departments to make all of this work and be successful and impactful.
So that's the teacher's desk there?
Yeah.
That's hard to believe.
Very different, isn't it? I
Yeah.
know.
Have an antique.
Looks
And,
like a director
you
of
know,
activities.
yes.
Right?
And this room, I was in here not too long ago, and it looks completely different than it was the last time I was in here, because everything is completely movable, and they move it all the time. I mean, the kids can, and the teachers will say, okay, you two grab that, and it's just fascinating how seamless it works. It's great. I know, and this is pretty
Is that the
neat.
adjacent classroom door? or-
No, this is a unique room in that there's a little quiet room on the side
Oh,
here
okay.
that's sort of collaborative. And this is actually a decent sized one, and I know this teacher also, this actually has Chromebooks, which you can hide away, but it also has
Oh, wow.
space so that there's a double desk here, there's a desk here, so you can have a small group. Again, where we have these, it's wonderful because it does give some flexibility to expand the room, and it just opens up and you have more going on, or you can be able to physically see kids, but also have them have a quieter space or a louder space depending on what you need going on.
Right.
Yeah. And quiet room's the wrong term because it's a collaboration space. They were called quiet rooms for the longest time, but it could be a loud room. And it's really just a space where we have some separation and have the ability for, you know, another space for kids to learn in the class. Any other questions? Okay, then we'll head back to the MUR and we'll move on to the rest of the event.
I like these stories about me. Did you read some? They're really cute.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was Six through eight, and then 9 through 12. K through 5. So 6 is the middle school.
Facilities are you useful, huh?
K through 8. Oh yeah. Basically upper division lower. Yep. Some private schools here. Some non. Oh my problem. Well, it's just 8th grade was so different. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, when I was in 6th grade, I can see it either way. I could see being the biggest elementary school. But there's something about being the youngest of those. I didn't think it would be. Yeah, it was like,
It is actually the middle school. I guess it's fun.
Yeah,
Maybe two grades.
yeah. It's usually bigger classrooms in the school district or more classrooms.
During the day, you keep a smaller class in the system.
Yeah.
So the ratios go up as you or the permitted ratios.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
All goes well.
It's default. Right. I wrote down good things, yeah. But you, I mean, with this stint, it's like it's like it's probably as far east for you as it is northwest.
I don't even know where that one is actually.
Oh, it's really soon.
That's about it.
I have to learn the school name.
Yeah. Great, so we took care of item F already. Chris, do you want to, for item G, consideration and action on the Citizens Oversight Committee annual report for fiscal year 21-22?
Yes, thank you. So the passage of a measure of the GL bond requires the formation of a Citizens Oversight Committee, and then the actual one main requirement of this group is to approve an annual report, and then that gets presented to the board. And so we have drafted an annual report for review by the Citizens Oversight Committee, and that was attached to the agenda and is here for discussion, and we would ask approval today. It will attach the audit that was just reviewed by Aubrey from Wilkinson Hadley, and will then be brought to the Board of Trustees at the next governing board meeting.
Any questions? Motion to approve this annual report, is that for consideration by the board?
Yes.
Ayes? Any nays? Yes, it passes. Great, next, Chris and Tiana for item H, Citizens Oversight Committee Project and Financial Updates. All right. This evening, we will present our regular item here, which is the project and financial update. So I will start us off with our project update, and then Tiana Barton will share the financial update. So this cover slide will only change when we go out and sell another series of bonds. This gives an overview of the overall Measure MM program. To date, we have sold about $119 million in bonds, and there's our remaining $66,715,000 that can come in later series. As we look at the projects, Del Mar Heights School rebuild is exciting news since the last time we met, in that we have finally
had the injunction lifted, we were able to start construction on March 6th again, and so we are in the midst of really working through the site sat for 10 months, and so there are things that are needing to be reworked. We've obviously had a lot of rain, and so there's been a little bit of that. In fact, there's going to be more water to be trucked off, but the contractor trucked 20 truck loads of water, 1,500 gallons each, off before this most recent set of rains, and I would imagine there'll be another huge amount that they truck off, and so to take care of stormwater that's been disposed of in an appropriate place to make sure that it's able to get off and we can have the site dry out and continue with the work. So we're in the midst of that. We'll be moving forward with timeline updates shortly, and so the first step obviously was to get us up and running. Next step is to get a timeline for the remediation for the time off, and then we'll have the remaining work timeline and we'll be able to share that out. And so certainly by the next time we meet, and I'm hoping the next board meeting we'll be able to give a better idea of what that timeline looks like. As we look at the pictures, we have the same renderings, and these are two pictures from the first week on the job, just showing that we already do have people out there. There's some diggers and excavating machines, and there's been a lot of work also in setting up berms and other things to try to ensure that we're not having stormwater leave the site. Pacific Sky School is at this point complete, so we don't have a final notice of completion, but the work is complete and it's down to some minor pieces on checklists, punch list items that we're kind of working through with our kitchen, and it's exciting to see that project be in essence complete, and we'll likely come off of a real update portion for this because there is more work to do. So great project. I will say it was exciting to share at the board meeting. This project was awarded by the Coalition for Adequate School Housing and the American Institute of Architects, California, with a Leroy F. Green Design Award, and that award is given to projects, new projects within the last 5 years, and it was related to a number of categories, but only 6 were awarded at the conference. So really exciting to see Pacific Sky awarded for the design and the construction of that site. It is a beautiful site, and it is amazing to see with kids in the school interacting. It's been very fun. Del Mar Hills Academy, we are currently in the design phase. As you know, we've had a number of community meetings and work with staff and students, and we're in the process of updating cost estimating and design development and working with architect and contractors. We would anticipate being able to go through the DSA process and be able to start on that project in the summer of 2024. So some of the renderings we have of the school that we've shared before. So new pictures for you at this point. They will be coming. District-wide modern learning environments, as we all just saw, 4 of them at this school site, and as Holly spoke to, there is a goal that all classes are modernized by the 25-26 school year. So it is an undertaking, and it has been amazing to see how successful it's been. It is not the way it is typically done. Typically it is done modernizations at different school sites, but it's been fantastic to see impact at every school and be able to set an objective. And really it is, there's instructional service, professional learning, there's a facilities and maintenance group that does all of the summer work that goes into it, and in collaboration with all those 2 departments and business services. And so it's been fantastic to see the impact district-wide. So while I couldn't get you in there with kids, here are a couple of examples of students. And this one up here in the top right, those are those cushions I pointed out that, you know, sometimes they're for sitting, sometimes they're for writing on. They're all over, and then students sitting on that grassy example. Definitely students using the space and using it the way that works best for them. And then we also saw playground equipment today. We are anticipating most of it to be completed by between summer 2023 and summer 2024. The bulk of those will be done this summer, and then we're looking at when we can get Del Mar Hills done so that it isn't in the way of construction activity and we don't have an issue with that. And there is one playground at Torrey Hills that may be done in the the following summer as well. But we're getting close to building out all of the schools other than Delmar Heights and Delmar Hills, which are part of the modernization process. So a few pictures of, actually you just saw this one right here. One above it. And then the Cerberries, and this is complete, so this one will be falling off as well. The Cerberries were completed over the summer, and right out here that's serving Ashley Falls. They've been instrumental for the success of our meals program, and we're excited to have been able to do that, to keep that going, and then we'll be shifting that into an in-house program coming next year. And then finally, we had the security projects. Security cameras are in the plan and install phase at all school sites. There have been a couple of spots where it's delayed just because of some of the chips that go into some of the security cameras. And so there are little pieces in that, but we've gotten all wiring done. We're in the process of getting those security camera installs across the districts at all of our school sites. And with that, are there any questions about the projects? If not,
So all these projects that you've outlined, I don't think can be covered by this last, fully covered by this last tranche, correct?
well, between the two, Series A and Series B,
They
these
can.
projects.
Even
Some,
if it's-
Delmar Hills may require some Series C funding,
Uh-huh.
but that's where we'll be monitoring the final cost on Delmar Heights now that it's up and running. And then we'll be able to look at what is the overall cost and then timing of needing to decide another one. Of course, with starting construction in summer 2024, we have time if we should need more funds to be able to look at when we would need to go out for another bond. Or not go out for another bond, we sell another series of bonds to provide more funding for it.
Being that the market's not, so awesome right now, you pulled Series B, you can pull Series C. That gets us through all of these projects, ostensibly, right? And then, is that kind of estimated to be kind of it? Is like.
No, there would be a series, because there are still modernizations at all school sites. After Delmar Hills, Carmel Del Mar, and then Ashley Falls,
Yep.
Sage Canyon, Torrey Hills, Ocean Air, and Sycamore Ridge,
But at some point, the money runs out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I guess you just continue to monitor that and take
Correct.
off the prioritization of those items and get as far as you can. Is that kind of-
Absolutely, and we anticipate with the budget that we would be able to get through all the schools. We also are monitoring where do we end up with Delmar Heights, and then we'll.
Have a much better idea.
And so we could do a Series C and do it in just 3 series. We've always projected Series C and Series D, but with the projects we had going, our Series B ended up being larger than we originally anticipated. So we originally anticipated somewhere more in the $35 to $40 million range, but we had the capacity and we had the rates that made sense and the ability to spend.
Well, and then
funds.
unfortunately, building costs went up too, so we needed more.
Yeah, and year over year, we've seen the last 2 years, somewhere in the range of 15% followed by 9%. So it's been a huge escalation of the last 2 years in construction costs. And we're even seeing it at the state level. They just approved, I think, a 9.3% at how they're calculating funds from the state level on school construction. So it is being realized right now at a pretty high year over year increase. So something we're monitoring, again, the unknowns with Delmar Heights have led us to a point where now that we're up and running, we will be doing some updating to things once we are able to update some costs. And I will hand it over to Tiana to take our financials.
All right, thank you, Chris. So the first portion of the financials that we're gonna take a look at are the encumbrances and expenditure summaries from the inception of our bond through February 16th of 2023. And so as we take a look, column A is going to give you the description of our project, and column B is the cumulative budget for that project. Column C, I'm sorry there, there's a mistype, but column, the second column B is our Measure MM cumulative encumbrances, and C, the expenditures, and then the remaining amount against the encumbrance, and then our project status. So as you saw today during our tour, we saw a lot of the completed playground plans for Ashley Falls School, and that's our first school that we're gonna take a look at. So for Ashley Falls, we have a campus project total of about 1.1 million. And of that, we have the modern learning environments that are completed thus far, the playground improvements, and the lunch servery that we previously talked about. And then we have the security project that is currently in progress. And then same as we go down through, taking a look at Carmel Del Mar School, the modern learning environments, and update there. And the play improvements, lunch servery, and security projects for Carmel Del Mar School with a campus total of 1.1 million. And then the Del Mar Heights School rebuild project with 66 million reported there, and that is in progress. The Del Mar Hills Academy campus improvements consist of the modern learning environment, similar to other sites, the lunch servery, security projects for 20 million campus total there.
The stickers between line 9 and 10, they both have the same thing.
So the total there is for the overall rebuild of Del Mar Heights. There's just different coding, counting coding in each of those. But the cumulative total is that 66 million. And then for Ocean Air campus improvements, we have the modern learning environments, the play improvements, which are anticipated to be this summer, and the lunch servery, which is completed, and the security projects for a total for that campus of 1.4 million. And then Pacific Sky School, as Chris had mentioned, looking to have that notice of completion issued in the spring of 23. And then for Sage Canyon School, we have the modern learning environment, some of the modernization there as well. Play improvements, lunch servery, and security projects for 1.3 million for that campus. And then looking to Sycamore Ridge, some of the similar projects. Again, the importance of touching every school site with the bond monies here. The modern learning environments, play improvements, lunch servery, and security projects for a total of over $1 million. And then for Torrey Hills campus is another one of the campuses that will have some more play improvements, as well as the modern learning environments and lunch servery, which is completed for 1.6 million. And then overall district-wide improvements, which include several of the other classrooms that we anticipate modernizing over the summer, and district-wide project bond support cost and cost of issuance for a total of 1.7 million. So combined total for Measure MN products thus far is the 119 million.
Is the cost of issuance for the bond, 36, is that for all the tranches, or does each tranche create its own additional cost? Just out of curiosity.
Rob, I think I know the answer.
We need to get the chart.
I guess another way to ask.
So we totaled them, each one has their own cost of issuance, but we paid them all out of the same.
So the overall bond.
Yeah, that's an overall cost.
Yeah.
Right, and the second set of financials that we're going to take a look at are the Measure MM expenditures. In our December meeting with the committee, we had reported through November 30th of 2022. So these expenditures that we're reporting on are from 12/1 of 22 through February 16th. And these will give a breakdown of the expenditures for that time frame. And projects with a 0 have commitments but no paid expenditures in this particular period. So from December 1st through February 16th. And that is broken out by project as well. And same for the next, each project will give you those specific expenditures for that time frame. And then at the end of that portion of the report, we have a grand total of those expenditures to be $741,644.44.
Are we done paying legal fees for Heights? Is that?
So we don't have any legal fees that are reported
but
They're still finishing up and there's still the risk of appeal.
So I would hope that we'd be done with legal fees related to that, but we're, that there are still some wrap-up things that are being,
Did the other side have to post a bond with the injunction?
they did.
So we collect some money on that?
We are working on that as well.
That's in process. Jeff and Wendy were working on that literally today.
So not much, though, right?
60,000. We'll take everything we can get.
Like grassy knolls.
Okay, and that's the financial portion of the update.
Moving on to agenda item I, discussion and possible action on COC election and vice president. Do we have any candidates? Or Bob's discussion?
But it's on here, we'll keep it on here as long as we don't have a vice president.
Mr. Chairman, right now, the committee has you as the chairman and the secretary, but doesn't have a vice chair or vice president in the event you weren't able to be at a meeting. Any of the members who want to can stick their hand up and attest to, that's kind of hard. But there's no need to appoint a vice president if none of the committee members want to step up. We just put it on the agenda in case there was a desire to do that. We'll probably keep it on the agenda as a standing item until such time as that gets done.
Going once? Maybe next time. Item J, discussion and action related to the next meeting. So quarterly, right?
Typically, we do about quarterly, and we typically had a meeting right before, give or take, right around the end of the school year. Pull up the, I can pull up this show the previous meetings on our website. So last year we met on June 9th, year before June 2nd. So typically we've had a meeting sometime in early June as and then follow that up with a meeting often sometime in September as the next meeting sort of after the school year starts.
It's a Monday, it looks like today. What about June 12th? I know it's also summer, so cause of those travel schedules. June 12th work. Any requests on sites to see, or Chris, any suggestions on a place that may be modernized between now and then, or recently modernized? Or we would do to get in the past.
We have been to now Sky, of course, we've been to Ocean Air, we've been here. We have we've been to Carmel Belmont.
Yes.
We've been to Carmel Belmont as well.
Stage and Silver Ridge, stuff.
We could look at, let's think about Tory Hills.
Okay. Unless anyone has, so let's do June 12th, 5 p.m. Tory Hills.
That was the easiest scheduling we've ever done.
I was gonna say, you have the gift, Mr. Chair. I had to fight and get paid.
It's, because every other week everyone's on vacation here, so again, landed on one wrong here. And then, Chris, you say you wanted to schedule September, we can do that then, we can do that in June, because that way I'm learning better.
Yeah, typically, though, Mr. Chair, the committee has done one meeting setting one meeting at a time, because inevitably, if you reach out 6 months, the schedule changes.
Makes total sense. Great, so that takes care of agenda letter J. Now, any comments, moving on to K? Any comments from committee members on any of the items or things they wish to hear discussed either today or at the subsequent meeting? Great, so if no other comments, meeting is adjourned, thank you.
You have to touch.
I think I just had an effect on people to sign off.
Thank you, everyone.
Guys.